All right, it's time. Week 11. Time to talk about an NFC North matchup, and should be a good one on Sunday. You've got the Bears traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The second time these teams have faced off this year. If you remember back in September, they faced off in the opening week on Monday night because, of course, what else would you want but Bears football in prime time, right? That's exactly it. So, going back to that matchup, it was J.J. McCarthy's NFL starting debut after missing all of last season with the knee injury. And the Bears were actually up 17-6 going into the fourth quarter after Nashawn Wright's pick six. And you're thinking, okay, the Bears are going to win this one. And then the fourth quarter happens. And the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy rattle off three straight touchdowns. He throws a couple of touchdown passes, then the big touchdown run. And the Vikings end up holding on to win 27-24. So what was a promising start in week one for the Bears quickly dissipated in the fourth quarter. And where are we at now, right? You look at the Bears. They pulled off another improbable fourth quarter comeback last Sunday against the Giants. They've won two games in a row after that bad loss on the road to Baltimore. They sit at 6-3 tied for first, believe it or not, in the NFC North with the Detroit Lions. Um, yeah, like offense doesn't feel elite. I'm going to be honest, it really doesn't feel elite, but statistically it is. And some of that is due to garbage time and other stuff, but they're third in total yards gained, seventh in points scored. But here's what's unequivocally true. This defense is dog shit. I know you can take the injury excuses and shove them up your ass. Like, this is just a dog shit defense. They're 27th in yards allowed, 28th in total points allowed. Most weeks just playing really, really bad football if we're being transparent. And that's evidenced by the fact of after 9 weeks, the Bears still have a negative point differential. I think they're like -8. Now, granted, a lot of that ties back to the week 2 shellacking that the Detroit Lions gave them and the number of close wins the Bears have had. But, you're 6-3. That's nice. But you still have a negative point differential. That's not good. They've done a lot of winning ugly. I don't know how else to really say it, right? Like, you look at most of the games outside of maybe the Cowboys game, and they were all really ugly wins. All the other 5 were really, really ugly. But they're wins, but they were ugly. But they were wins, but they were ugly. But all that doesn't matter now because the team is 6-3, and you're getting to what is now the real teeth of the Bears' schedule these last 8 games of the season, and in particular, I think the most critical stretch of the schedule, which is these next 4 games, right? Against the Vikings, the Steelers, the Eagles, the Packers. Like, this is going to be what makes or breaks the Chicago Bears season in 2025. Meanwhile, for the Minnesota Vikings, they've got J.J. McCarthy back in the fold as a starter over the past couple of weeks after he missed several games due to injury. They followed up that great upset victory on the road against Detroit a couple of weeks ago by laying a kind of an egg against the Ravens last week. They're sitting at 4-5, which is honestly about where you could reasonably have expected them to be, right? Like, were you expecting much more from the Vikings here? So many unanswered questions around J.J. McCarthy, and yeah, like 4-5, it's not great, but it's not terrible. And when you look at the schedule that they've played, the context matters a little bit, right? Their losses include Pittsburgh, the Eagles, the Chargers, all 3 of those teams likely to be in the playoffs. The Ravens might, by the time we get to the end of the year, be in playoff position. So their losses have been to quality opponents for the most part. J.J. McCarthy has been inaccurate. The completion percentage certainly shows that. He's made some bad throws, a little turnover prone. Things that aren't automatically disqualifying as a rookie. He's made some big plays too. But this is what this season's about, is finding out what you got in J.J. McCarthy. Wasn't great that he missed a few games due to injury after missing all of his rookie season with an injury. That becomes a bit of a pattern and trend. The number one ability of a young quarterback or any quarterback to have for his team is the ability of availability. And right now, J.J. McCarthy grades a flat-out F on that scale. Forget everything else statistically. And I think it no big surprise, the offense has been kind of lackluster so far this year. 24th in rushing yards, 22nd in passing yards, 21st in total points scored. And I know a lot of people seem to love Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator, but the reality is the results matter too, and the results indicate that they're an overrated defense. They're not a bad defense, but they are overrated. You swear you go on social media and you got people talking about them like they're an elite unit, but they're 18th in points allowed and 12th in yards allowed. That is not an elite defense by any measurement whatsoever. And if you got to start digging into the deep, deep roving right field of fucking analytics to try and justify your position around this Vikings defense being elite, like, come the fuck on. They're a good unit. They're not a great unit. But this is an absolute must-win for the Vikings if they have any shot, any hope at all at the wild card. They cannot go 4-6 and have any type of real playoff aspirations, especially in this tough-ass division. And for them, it would be huge to be able to get a second win over the Bears. It would mean there's only one game between them in the standings, and the Vikings would have the ultimate tiebreaker over the Bears because of sweeping the regular season matchups. In terms of the odds for this one, Minnesota's 2.5-point favorites with the over-under 48.5. Means the Vegas money is pointing to this being a higher scoring affair on Sunday. In terms of the injury report for the Bears, no Kyler Gordon, he's out. TJ Edwards is out. Jaquan Brisker's questionable. And apparently Jalen Johnson is questionable too. Is that real? Like, is there actually a chance that Jalen Johnson's going to play in this game? Okay, interesting. If he's back and he's healthy, like, that's certainly a big addition for the back of this Bears defense, no question about it. For Minnesota, little depleted on the trenches. Jonathan Grenard is out. Ryan Kelly is out with the concussion. So some big losses for both teams, certainly. In terms of the keys to victory for this one, I'll start with Chicago. They got to force turnovers. They're 6-1 this year when they forced at least one turnover. Forced turnovers gives them a much better shot to win. I know this sounds so generic, but it's true. Like, sometimes keep it simple, stupid, right? It's the simple things that matter the most. They got to force turnovers. Offensively, we've now gotten to the point where more than halfway through the season, we see this team, we know who has it, we know who doesn't. And the longer this coaching staff denies fucking reality, the harder they're making it on themselves. And what I mean by that is you need to give more offensive touches to Kyle Monangai, Luther Burden III, and Colston Loveland. Less carries for DeAndre Swift, less targets for Olamide Zacchaeus, less targets for Cole Kmet. You've got to prioritize these guys because each one of these three provides something different to this Bears offense. Incorporating all three of them on a larger scale will undoubtedly make the Bears offense better more consistently. This has been a problem for the Bears offense this year. They have stretches where they look great, and then they have long, dry spots where they look absolutely like dog shit. You got to get these three guys more involved in the offense. Fans can see it. The media knows it. Like, just fucking do it. It's not that hard. And then make J.J. McCarthy beat you with his arm. I mean, why would you allow the Vikings to minimize the pressure on J.J. McCarthy? Why would you allow them to kind of hide J.J. McCarthy? Like, I don't want them to sit there and turn to Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason on the ground to beat the Bears, because if they do, they can beat the Bears. J.J. McCarthy did beat the Bears once already this year. That is absolutely true. But I'm still rolling the dice and taking my chances and saying he's not going to do it a second time. Got to make the Vikings offense one-dimensional, and that one dimension is you got to make them a throwing team. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, protect the ball. Bears defense is bad. One way to bail out a bad defense is by turning the ball over. If you protect the ball, it significantly increases your chances of winning at home. And then, as I mentioned, the running game a moment ago, they got to have a heavy dose of Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. If both are healthy for this game, it looks like they are. Because this Bears run defense stinks. Like, get physical. Pound them on the ground. If the Vikings, if Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings do that, it will pay off handsomely for them. And then in the passing game, Justin Jefferson is great. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer. But you look at this team the past couple of weeks, there really hasn't been much emphasis on TJ Hawkinson. That's got to change this week. Jordan Addison, especially if Jalen Jones is limited or ends up not playing, like, Jordan Addison's got to be a guy you go with. You got to target him more. But even if Jalen does play and it's him and Tyreek at either corner, you still got to go at Addison. You got to throw him the ball more. Justin Jefferson, fantastic player. Super stud, arguably best wide receiver in the game today. He'll get his. He will get his. But if you're the Vikings in your passing game and you can get Hawkinson and Addison involved, like, that's going to be a nightmare for the Bears. Should be an interesting one. It ended up being an interesting one and a competitive one on Monday night to start off the season. I don't see any reason this will be any different. It's a really good chance for the Bears to make a statement here. Win on the road against at least a solid team. If they win this one ugly, you know what? It's beating a divisional opponent on the road and takes you to 7-3. I will take the ugly victory. It doesn't mean I won't complain about it, but I will certainly take it. But that might be what they need in order to win. This one's close, but right now, if I'm being honest, Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Give me the Bears 24 and the Vikings 23, and maybe the Bears kick a late field goal to win it or some crazy shit like that. But it should be a good one on Sunday. You can take your skulls and shove them up your ass because it's time to bear down, bitches! And of course, now that I said that, the hashtag Jeff Jinx lives, and we're going to see 3 hours of Bears football on Sunday. Fuck my life.